What's going on, everybody? So this video is gonna be a little bit different. Today I'm not writing, so I'm in my office right now, and I just wanted to give you guys an update on why I sold the 2025 Indian Sports Scout. As you guys know, I've had that bike for not too long. If you have been following the channel, I basically bought that bike in November and I sold it in June. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Um, First, I was very excited about the bike. I really like how it rides. Watch my review, and you'll see that there are many things that I really like about that bike. But there are a couple of things I that basically made me want to sell that bike. Uh, and the initial thing that made me want to sell the bike was just the stalling issue that kind of made me wonder, like, is this really going to be a reliable bike? The only dealer that I had close to me was over an hour away. So for me to get any service or to take the bike to a dealer, I would have to ride it over an hour away uh, to get any support, right? So to me, that kind of started everything in my mind to be like, maybe I should reconsider this. Maybe this was a bad purchase for me. Not because the bike is bad, but just because of a couple of things, and that's one of them. So the stalling issues. Um, the bike would just stall. If you guys haven't seen my video about it, basically, after taking off from turning the bike on, I would take off, ride it for about a block, and then whenever getting to a stop, if I pressed the clutch and then went down to first gear, the bike would just stall out of nowhere. Even while holding the clutch, or even if I had it in neutral, it would stall because the RPMs it kept fluctuating up and down. So with this Scout, so I turned it on. The rev is between 1 and 2,000. Sometimes it keeps going up and down, fluctuating too much. That's when the bike turns off and it stalls. Like right now, you see, like it's going like, and it stalled. Eventually, that actually stopped after after another like 300-400 miles that I had on the bike, that I put on the bike. Uh, but that basically is what started my whole everything in my head to think about getting rid of the bike. Okay. So now that we got that covered, um, after that all started, I started seeing a couple of other things, and one of them was going over bumps on the motorcycle. For me, for my height being around 5'6", 5'7" ish, it was there were times that I didn't feel safe because I had to reach too far for the handlebars, and having forward controls, I couldn't really lift myself up to go over bumps. So it felt like on bigger bumps, the bike would literally just throw me up off the seat. And it felt like my hand wanted to come off of the handlebar. So for me, that there were a few times that was pretty scary, and I didn't want to. And since I already had this in my mind that maybe I made a mistake, maybe I should have gotten a different bike. That's something that I didn't want to spend to fix. Okay, and I'll get to that in a little bit on what the fix would have been. So the other thing is that there's still not a lot of aftermarket parts for that bike. There are maybe like one or two companies that have a couple of aftermarket parts for that bike, and one of them being Lawless Garage, which I had a terrible experience with, and another one being Dean Speed. Dean Speed, they were actually really good. I bought an item from them and canceled it. They didn't say anything. They literally just said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Here's your money back." So they were awesome. Uh, if I had kept the bike, I would have basically purchased everything that I needed from them. Um, but there are still not a lot of parts available. Okay, so and when I first bought the bike, I wanted to put like some bar risers. I wanted to put a nice seat, some bags, but still there was only Corbin seats available, and the bar risers, Ding Speeds didn't even have them yet. Okay, so that's another thing. One other thing too is the price for everything. So anything that you buy for that bike is like $1,000. So if you want to buy a seat, $1,000. If you want to buy some bar risers, another $1,000. So it gets very expensive. And since I had it's not that I didn't have the money to spend. If I wanted to, I could have bought all of that stuff. But it's just that I already had that in my mind, like that doubt about the bike after the stalling issues, and that made me rethink and say, you know what, I don't know if I like the bike enough to spend all of this extra money to get the bike however I want it. Okay, so that's one of the things. And then there are a couple of small issues like the gas cap, for example. You basically have to take it all the way off every time you want to put gas, and that's kind of annoying. It's kind of too old school for me. I'm used to, the MT-09 where I could just lift the gas cap and then just put gas in, close it, and be good to go. With that bike, I had to take out the gas cap, put it on the seat, and then put gas, and then put the gas cap on. So I had to fully get off the bike to get gas. And on the other bikes, I could just sit on it, get gas, and then leave. So it's a small detail. That's not a big deal one, but comfort wise. The other thing is the small tank. I could live with it, but the fuel gauge was useless on that bike, right? So having a small tank and a useless fuel gauge, it was basically just having like a little reserve light, so that would come on because the fuel gauge I could not rely on it at all. I had to keep track of when I put gas on the bike and when I needed to get gas, and I basically had to get gas almost every single day that I went out. So about 100 miles, I would have to put gas on the bike. Okay. I didn't want to wait until I had like over 120 miles and then the bike dies on me. So I basically had to get gas almost every single time that I went out. And the other thing is that, as I mentioned, it gets expensive. So, as I mentioned, the fix that I would have added to that bike for to feel less scary when going over bumps, it would have been a more comfortable seat, so it doesn't throw me, so the bike didn't throw me off the seat too often. Something that would have a little bit more cushion, maybe adjust the suspension a little bit, add some mid controls, add some bar risers for an easier reach. But after having the minor issues that I've had, I basically didn't really want to do that. I kind of I gave up on it. In my head, I was like, I like the bike. There are many things that I really like about that bike, but then in my head, I was kind of giving up on it already. I had already given up because I after buying a brand new bike like that, and then it had stalling issues, and then once that kind of thing happens, you start seeing all of the other little issues, and you start thinking, at least me, I started thinking, I don't know if I want to spend much more money on this bike. I don't know if I like this bike enough. I don't know if it's gonna have more issues. The only dealer that I had was over an hour away. So it's not hating on the bike or anyone that has the bike. So if you have the bike, congratulations. It is still a great bike. If you see my review, you'll see that I actually had a lot of positives that I liked on that bike. But unfortunately, with the experience that I had, I decided that it was time for the bike to go. So thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.